Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I am so happy you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, get some questions answered, maybe show off what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin.
Wow, so many of you here already. Welcome. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to you too. I'm really glad you could join me. Right off the top, I want to say thank you to everyone who's come in here tonight. And I have two guests waiting in the studio, which I will bring in as soon as I say hi to people. I have to apologize for the audio. I'm sitting in my fish room, which is cool, because once the green screen is no longer needed, it'll be because there's a tank back there. So that's my plan. Once I have the tank in and running, or maybe just even in here, I'm going to be broadcasting from my fish room. So I have to apologize that it sounds echoey. I've got some blankets hanging around to try and dampen the sound a little bit, but I spent quite a while messing around with the audio and trying to make it as okay as possible. So I do apologize if it's annoying. Please let me know, and I'll mess around some more and see what I can do to fix that. So right off the top, Tony Close UK Reef. Hey, Tony, you were first tonight, and everyone, Tony gets a special shout out because while I was on hiatus, he watched every single one of my videos. I think it's almost 300. And I think he made a comment on every single one. So Tony, that's perseverance, I have to say. Thank you. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, there's Tony. Glad you're back. Saturdays are not the same. I agree. I felt kind of lost on Saturday nights because this had become so much a part of my life routine. Okay, Nat King Reef. Hey, Nat. I hope you're doing well after your issue with your tank and your fish. Nat put a video out on YouTube about an incident that happened with his tank recently. Hey, JV. JV Gwaltney is here. He's been setting up an aquarium controller cabinet all afternoon. Big hands in little places, I bet. Hey, Robert Poorman. Braveheart Reefer 525, welcome. There's Carlos 23. My favorite reef girl, yep, and you're still my favorite, Carlos. That's awesome. Hi, Straight Reefer. And there's Telegram. Telegram is here waiting in the studio, which is really cool. He just finished his own live stream. If you've never run across Telegram's YouTube channel, he does a live stream that's technical but fun, called Boxes and Booze. So check that out if you get a chance, because it's really entertaining. Who else we got here? We got me saying hi, everybody. There we go. Thanks for another great stream tonight from Braveheart Reefer. And Carlos, wondering if you received the pump. You know what? It is still at the mail place in the US, and the border closed. We could not get there. I have that and one other thing, which is a frag rack from Paul Blaney. And the cost for me to get those picked up and brought back to Canada is $95 for a box. So the two things could go in the same box. So yeah, $95. So I'm waiting. I'm hoping the border does open up and I can go and get those things, because there's nothing I can do about it right now, which is a real shame. I looked into getting them to ship it for me, and the shipping process internationally, if you're trying to do it, is really, really difficult. It's created so that individuals have a very hard time navigating all the documentation that you need. I did try it. The cost is around $30 to $40 US, which was doable. I just couldn't navigate the paperwork. And unfortunately, the people at the mail place will not get a label from the post office and mail it to me. So US Post website was inaccessible for international shipping. And I think that may have a lot to do with all of the problems that they were having pre-election. I may try again in the new year and see if I can get that stuff over here. Thanks for asking, though, Carlos. I keep meaning to contact you and let you know about that. Broke Reef Man 45. Hello. Robert Poorman. Hey, Benny's Aquarium. Mr. DKH is here, and there's T40 Reefer. Oh, it's just jumped up. I don't want to miss anybody. T40 WVU Reefer is here. Welcome. Chi-Town Reefer, Insane Reefer, Kimber Reefs. Hi, everybody. Hello from Best Virginia. That's from WVU Reefer. There's Taryn's Little Ocean. Taryn is also waiting patiently in the studio here. Christy Myers, hello from Southwest Florida. Hope you're doing well. There's Camaro Kid, hi. Chase V Reefing is here. We're back. Yes, we are. And Chase, you've got stuff going on that I hope you can come in and show us at some point. I don't know if you're ready yet, but I'd be interested to see how it's coming along. DMV Silverback G. Lynn Reef Nerd sent me. Hello. Welcome. Fletcher Wright, hello. I think I said hi to JV up top. There's David Wildcat. David Wildcat fam. You have a really nice reef. Thank you. It's not the way I would like it at the moment, but you know, I'll take it. It's the main thing is things in there are alive, and I just have to get them to survive. Who else have we got here? Hey, there's Murphy's Aquatics. Hi, Pat. I hope you're doing well. Calypso's Reefs is here. Hector, I hope you're doing well too. I saw you have a new setup. That's cool. And there's Reef Keeper, Phil. Phil has a Red Sea 525 XL. You guys, most of you probably know about his tank and see him on Instagram. And there's Sharbuckles Reef. Hey, Sean. I hope things are doing well out there in Ottawa. I know there's lots of cases of stuff going on over there. Yeah, it's pretty strange to think about it all and how long it's going to last. You are the best reef girl. Thanks, Benny. And who else? Oh, and there is Lynn Reef Nerd here listening in. So happy you are back. Lynn, nice to have you. And I hope someday you feel comfortable enough to give us a tour of your fish room, because I've seen tantalizing little glimpses of it on Instagram and other times when I've seen your tanks. Let's see here. Tri-Town, Chase V. I think we got everybody. So let me bring in Telegram and Taryn's Little Ocean. Taryn was here first. I'm coming for you, Taryn, so get ready. There she is, Taryn's Little Ocean. And there is Telegram. Hey, I got my hair cut. Did you?
I did get my hair cut once, but have not got, that was August? That was late August. I think that was the last time.
I got 5 inches cut off the bottom of it. And that was probably about a month ago.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I did too. It was getting a little ridiculous.
It was taking on a life of its own. The hair that walked like a man.
Yeah, it sure was. And now my kid's in the same boat where his is starting to curl up in the back a little bit too.
Yeah.
His is coming back. It's good to see you back. Yeah. It's good to see you getting a new place. That's amazing. And I'm super excited for you to move in.
Yeah, we're here. We went shopping for water vessels a couple weeks ago. Haven't bought anything yet, but next week is super busy with appointments and stuff. And because we're now an hour away from all of our stuff, we have to gradually transition that here. It's really busy. But the week after, I am going out to buy a 150-gallon upright water container for RO water.
Yep.
And then 2 65s on legs to act as a mixing, 2 mixing coats for salt water.
Cool. You're going all in. That's awesome.
Oh, hey, listen, if you can only do it once, I mean, I think this is going to be it. It's going to be my last tank.
Yep.
Unless I downsize extremely, if I become unable to look after it. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. And it's going to be stock tanks for the sump, a 150 with a 60 on top of it, overflowing into it, and then two 275s to act as a skimmer chamber, and then just a water change chamber.
Very cool. So, excited to see that. That'll be really, really neat to see.
That's the plan, and it was really delightful to come into the house and finally be able to look at the space and realize it's going to work.
And your temporary tank has been doing just fine, right? Everything in that tank looks pretty good post fish issue.
Yeah, not bad. Everything's paled out. Not everything. The Montipores have got really pale. This green Season's Greetings behind me has gone very pale, and I'm speculating it's a nutrient issue.
Okay.
So I'm working on that, and it's not dyed. I have a red Monty cap that's quite white, but still has fluorescence with the UV light. So
it'll all find its way back, right?
They're getting big.
Good. As long as they're growing, they'll find their way back to color. You know, with your Space Invader, you know what that's like.
Oh yeah.
It'll come back.
Oh, there's Taryn again. Let's bring her back in. Hey Taryn, you got back in.
Hi. I know my internet sometimes is slow. Hello. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm still a little exhausted from moving, but you know, we spent some time cleaning out boxes because I needed this room, and this is the room where we put all the empty boxes till we figured out what to do with them. And it's tiring moving. I don't know how people do it in their 70s and 80s. I guess they hire somebody. Well, we had movers, but all the packing and unpacking is just a nightmare.
Moving's horrible. Doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, moving's horrible.
Yeah. Make
the only good thing.
Go ahead.
I said the only good thing with moving is then all of your closets are completely cleaned out and organized.
That's true.
That's true.
And you find stuff that you knew you had, but you couldn't find it, and you need it, right?
That I need.
I find stuff that like I still have in boxes from like the last move, and I'm like, okay, I really don't need those.
No kidding. Hello, David L. Nice to see you here. And there's Gabe's Reef Tampa and Chimp the Reefer. Great. Yeah, we had boxes that were under the stairs of our other house that came from the house before that in 2002. We had never opened them the whole time we were in that house. 18 years. So we unpacked them. We looked through them. Got rid of some stuff. Yeah. So, you know, you just have to do it. And I said, when we come here, no box is being unopened. They're all going to be opened, and we either get rid of whatever it is or it gets put somewhere in sight. Because if you see it, you know, you'll probably use it. So we'll see if that happens. Right?
Is your house bigger or the same size?
It's bigger. It's only about 300 square feet bigger. But that makes a difference in all the rooms. Mm-hmm. And it also means the basement is 300 square feet bigger, and we don't have as much of it finished as we did in the other house. There's actually room down there now for a bedroom and a workshop that are a good size, like a workshop for my husband and a bedroom for guests, or, you know, when our grandson gets old enough to sleep over. And and this room that I'm in, the fish room, is the second bed. Like, it's a 2-bedroom house. This is bedroom 2, and then there's our bedroom that's at the back. So all the rooms are a little bigger. We have a real ensuite bathroom, 2 baths on the main floor, which I love. I've never had that before. We have a double garage, which I've never had before. So there's a lot of things in this house that are, it's just enough bigger to be more comfortable. So
that's cool. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
The echo, you had asked about the echo. The echo is not at all bad.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
No, it's good.
Good. Because I'm facing the front wall. The doors are there. And so we hung blankets over the doors. And then my window's to my right. And I hung a towel over the shower or the shutter. And then I've got the green screen behind me, so I'm in this little enclosure. So
I bet you're looking forward to having that tank back there instead of the green screen.
Oh man, it's coming along. I've done some talking back and forth about the stand because I want the walking platforms on the stand.
Yep.
So instead of going with aluminum, I'm going with steel.
Okay.
And the way the platforms are going to be made is going to be pull out like a drawer slide. And then I'll step up. I was hoping to have flip down so that I could turn it into like a decorative cladding or something. But I'm okay with sliding them out. That's fine. Because the other way was going to be ridiculously expensive, and I have to have money for other stuff too. So
food.
So we compromised.
Good. That's awesome.
Who else have we got coming in here? Oh, so Jim, Sharboka said he missed your stream tonight, and he's interested in your initial impression of the Coral View Hydros.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about it now?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
It's a Hydros Control 2. So it's the little one. And there are differences between the 2 and the 4. So I'm basing this off of other people's opinions with what they're seeing with the 4 versus the 2. So the 2 does have email notifications. I use a product called Pushover, it provides an email address. So if I use an email notification from a controller like this and I send that to Pushover, then I get push notifications to my phone, which makes it super easy. I don't get graphing with the Hydros 2. You can use any of the same type power bars that you would get in the Hydros kit. So you can buy this just on Amazon for $25, and it's also compatible with the Hydros, which is interesting. I think for the audience that the 2, right, for which it's intended, it's perfectly adequate. It's a minor controller with a temperature probe. I would argue that you don't need pH if you're going to be looking at a controller like this. I think temperature is perfectly fine. And then you do some manual testing to understand what your tank's doing. I would assume this is water change people. Like you're managing your tank via water change, then this makes perfect sense for $200.
Right. Yeah.
I've got a GHL mini Wi-Fi sitting over there on the Pico tank. It's absolutely in the same category as the Hydros. So for me, that thing has a pH probe on it. A pH port. It doesn't come with a probe. So for $50 more, you get that pH opportunity if that's what you need. The GHL has a plug-in power adapter. So it's hardwired like you would expect to see with many others like GHL or Apex or whatever, where the Hydros has a Wi-Fi connection. A lot of people are super concerned about the Wi-Fi connection, but I've been running that on the eCoral Pro for a really long time now. And it's not a thing as long as you put your heater on an Inkbird. So really, that's the only thing that's going to get you. If you lose a connection, if you lose a connection between the Hydros and the power bar, then your heater's going to stay on. But if your heater's driven off of an Inkbird, then it's no longer an issue. So I think anybody who is concerned about Wi-Fi connected power bars, that's it. Use an Inkbird, and you don't have any more problems. Right. Other than that, this is legit. Like I had it on my work tank downstairs and I unplugged it for the stream today. This is totally day one. What I'm going to do is fiddle with it a little more, just pay attention to see what it's doing. Then I'm going to hand it off to DMV Reefer, and he is going to long-term test it for me to let me know what he thinks.
Nice. Oh, good.
So
yeah, I'd be interested in hearing that, because you know me, I am the apex, and I know that with this other system, the stakes are going to be so much higher. I'm going to need something as a monitor, or I will never want to leave my house.
Yep, totally.
So you
are controller adverse, right? I mean, it's just not something you're interested in, right? But it's
a trust issue
more
than anything else.
Oh, totally get it. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Michael Lee, welcome back. I'm late. Johnny Martinez is here. saying hi to everybody. Eggboy64, nice to see you, Andy. And Diacanthus Reef is just lurking for a bit. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Well, that's cool, Jim. I'm watching. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to upload videos, but I've been watching a lot of videos, and even if I don't always comment, I've been keeping an eye on what's been going on out there. The internet at my daughter's place was very, very unreliable, and she needed it through the day to work from home. So we avoided using it if we could, because it's just too much strain on the bandwidth. So, and then wouldn't you know, the day before we left, the company finally came out and pointed them at a different tower, and now their problems are over.
Poof.
Go figure. Yeah, I don't know what she said to make them finally come out, but they finally came out. So she's her mother's daughter, let me tell you.
Hey, Taryn, what do you got down at the bottom of there? Is that GSP?
Yes. It's
That's
on an
a big,
island,
beautiful.
though.
That thing's beautiful.
I know, it's actually pretty nice.
That's a different one. I'm going to make you full screen. You can tell us about it.
It is. That's very pretty.
Hang on, let me switch my camera. Sorry, I'm technology challenged.
It's a nice big island piece.
So yes, there is...
Island being the important word. Hey, no way. Welcome.
Is there some curly cues going on there?
So this I got like as a tiny frag. My tank is only just over a year old. I just started into saltwater just over a year ago. So this was actually one of my first pieces. It was just a tiny frag. It is curly actually, but then in the center there, that's actually sorry, my camera. That's actually a pipe organ on the front there. Okay. But the rest of it is GSP. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Growing a lot.
I've never seen one with those curly cues.
Yep,
when
me
you
neither.
See it, I mean, you can tell it's different, but when you see it up close like that, wow.
That's a cool piece.
Yeah, I didn't really know anything when I got it. It was literally like the first thing I added to my tank. I was like, just give me something easy. And but it's really grown. It was a tiny frag, but at least I knew enough to isolate it on this little island. So should it take over or anything, I can just move it out. But it's grown a lot. I actually saw a picture of my tank when I first started it, because someone had commented on it on Facebook and was saying something about oh, you should do this. And I was like, okay, my tank doesn't look like that anymore. And then I saw the difference. I was like, whoa, that thing exploded. So it's cool. Actually pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, so I got a few things going on here. Just Cindy, I can't remember what I had last time on our last live stream, but I know I added these two pretty recently. So it's just like a little scolie and a trachea. I added a new toadstool, but it's shedding right now, so it's kind of looking ugly. But I added a Duncan. It's already got a new head. My lights are ramping down, so things are starting to not look as happy. But I added a Favia.
Is that a willow?
Are you able to turn your phone horizontally? Will that work?
It is horizontally, but I don't know if it's.
Oh, okay.
There. Is that better?
No, it's flipped to the side.
Up and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Is that a big toadstool, or is that a weeping willow?
This is a toadstool. That was actually one of my other first pieces. So I actually really, really like that as well. But
very pretty.
And then this leather is actually a piece of Cindy's that we discovered, I don't know, a couple months ago that I had bought from my local fish store, and she had traded it in. So I always wanted a frag of hers, and then she's like, hey, did you get that from Coral Reef Shop? So I actually have one of her corals. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, just because it's such an unusual color, I've never seen anyone that bright anywhere else.
Yeah, it's very bright.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got a lot of green in here right now, but I don't know. I like it.
Oh, it's good.
It's just the way it is. I'm a newbie, so I don't invest too much in stuff. I mean, I've had pretty good success. I just added this millipora too. I really like that. I find that I do better with like the longer polyp SPS as opposed to the smooth ones.
Yeah.
So
tons of extension on that millie too. It's happy.
Nice.
it's like pretty
Very
happy.
nice.
So
Oh yeah.
I'm still learning, obviously. I mean, I've only been doing it for a year, but overall, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, your tank's
So,
good.
Thanks. I have a little bit of bubble algae, but I'll take it. I battled cyanobacteria for, I don't know, like 2 months, but now I haven't had it in like 4 months, and I just kind of battled it naturally. So anything is better than that. So,
Yep.
well, and dinos, I had that too.
That frog spawn's happy too.
That's a hammer, actually, but
My
it's
bad.
pretty.
It
It's
is.
It started as super tiny as well. So that was one of, I don't know, I think that was like one of the second or third pieces. I have a torch down here. It's kind of going to bed now. It hasn't been as happy this week, but I just moved it a tiny bit and I just started feeding it a little bit more because I noticed some of the tentacles were looking a little molted, almost like they were starting to bleach, but I think it might have had something to do with the time change because I slightly reduced my lighting to allow for like the daylight savings time, and I think just like that little bit made it unhappy, but I don't know, it's coming back. So yeah, I don't know. Other than that, the only issue I've had is I have a wrasse up here. I don't know if you can see him because of the reflection, but he's a long-finned fairy ruby wrasse or something. Anyways, he's jumped into my back chambers like 3 times, and that's been kind of a pain, but I finally solved the problem. I'll show you quickly. Anybody that has a BioCube, basically I just took a piece of tubing and put it over the little lip there, so now he can't jump back there.
Oh, that's smart.
So,
That's a really good solution.
It literally, the last time he jumped back there, it took me like 3 days. I had to take everything out from back there to get him out, and I was like ready to like siphon him out with a siphon, but I ended up catching him with a net, and then I was like, okay, I need to figure something out. So I've got so much stuff back there. Like I have a UV sterilizer, a skimmer, like my pump, my heater, and then all my media. So like to take everything out to try to catch that fish was like a super pain. So anyways, he's not going back there again. He almost got rehomed.
Look at that millie. Look at that, the extension on a millie still. I know I mentioned it, but look at that thing. It's awesome.
Thank you. I just got it maybe like 3 weeks ago.
No, it's good that it's still like that. You're all set.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I get a little bit of higher nitrates, but I've just been doing water changes. Like honestly, I've been tempted to try no-pox, but I'm so afraid of upsetting the balance of my phosphates and nitrates and getting cyano again that I'm like, I don't know.
If you
did, do it.
Yeah, if you did, you run the risk of cyano. I mean, I'm a no-poxer every night at 10 o'clock, but it could disrupt the balance of the tank.
And
you
this
try
is only, sorry,
what is your nitrate? What is your nitrate, Taryn?
It's usually like around 20, but the odd time, like if I feed, I try not to feed ReefGrrl, but like the odd time if I do, it might creep up towards like 30-ish by the time I do a water change. So it's pretty high, but everything looks okay. So that's the thing that I kind of struggle with. Like I know that, you know, obviously it's supposed to be pretty low, but I don't have excessive algae other than like the bubble algae, but other than that, it's pretty decent. So
if it's working, leave it be.
That's what I kind of thought, because I just have a feeling if I start playing around with it, I'm gonna end up with a bigger problem. So
yeah, I mean, these are the numbers that your tank is familiar with, what they're comfortable with. Let it go.
Yeah, and if you start seeing algae growing, then you'll know that you need to make some sort of a change to get it under control before it gets out of control. You know, because you've been through that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just mostly the cyano, and then when I did the chemi clean from the cyano, then I got the dinos. But the
Yep.
only thing I've really had is, so now I just like stay away from chemicals. I just do water changes, and I
Yeah.
manually dose alk. But
I would
other
I would
than
just
that,
stop testing. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
perfect.
If you don't know the numbers, then you're good to go.
Yeah,
Right?
trust your
I don't
eyes.
know.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm there yet, guys.
Hey,
But
ATF in the house is here. Nice to see you. And Michael Leese has his worm rocks. And Paula Blab hates me. Oh, yeah. I saw. Yeah, there's a story behind that. But anyway, yes, the worm rocks. Michael Lee has a tank with nothing but Christmas tree worm rocks, and I'm hoping he'll come on here and show us tonight or one of these nights. We have some questions here. Is this a Q&A, or do these people just talk about her plants? And I said, no, they're corals in the saltwater tank. Aren't corals plants? They eat sunlight. They have algae that make food, but it's part of them, right? I'm new to this, so don't know all the correct words. They are actually taxonomically animals. Even though the algae is in them, it's not part of their physical structure. It occupies space inside them. There is an interaction between the algae and the coral. The coral does feed off of it, but it's zooxanthellae. It's a separate creature that comes and goes. Kind of. It's hard to describe it, but yeah, you're right. But corals are technically, taxonomically, they're plants. They're scleractinians. Oh, we got Nano Joe. Hey, Nano Joe. 30 when you're ready. Hey, Michael, do you want the link? Because I can send you the link. And just email me at reefgrrl@gmail.com. And I will send that out to you. Your lights go out in 30 minutes, so maybe we have some time. Okay. I'm sorry, Jim, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to, as you full well known, it's well past my bedtime. And I'm going to and I'm going to jump off. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Super happy to see you here.
Thank you. And I'm really glad you came on tonight.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to talking to you more.
Awesome.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Good night. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
We have Insane Reefer here, so we can bring him in. I see he's walking around. There we go. Hey, Oscar.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Feels great to be back in the chair. It's a different chair, but feels good to be here.
Hi, Oscar.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Very happy that you're back.
Thank you.
we had Hector doing a couple of streams and all that, and it was fun as well, you know?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was able to watch a little bit, but the internet, it was just so patchy, and it would freeze, and I just couldn't participate. But I did see that he was doing some stuff with his new setup, and it was quite a while ago. Now that I think about it, early September, late September, early October.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
that was good.
So a lot of changes here in the tank.
Yeah.
Yes, good changes.
Good.
So I'll switch here if I can.
Okay.
If I remember.
I know when I was setting this up, it was like, okay, what did I do here and how did I do that?
So here we go.
Nice.
Got the little island of zoas here. Let me see if I don't.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Let me try something here. If I get kicked out or whatever, I'll just come back in. Okay, I got it.
Nice.
So yeah, I got a couple of new zoas here. Some of them are from upstairs, like the Rastas and those orange ones there.
Very
L-
pretty.
LA Lakers are from upstairs, and those orange ones there are from upstairs. And these I bought them a couple of weeks ago. Well, a couple of months ago, maybe. Sunny D's over there growing like crazy. Those are from upstairs. And that's my leopard wrasse. And there's my naso.
Beautiful.
And I got some new acros. I don't know if you got to see the worldwide coral yellow tip.
Yes, I
Was that
remember
there?
that.
Okay, so
Yep.
that was there. So it just started encrusting a couple of weeks ago. That one was there. Uh, that is a high voltage millipora. This one up there is that bubblegum millie. And this one was the one that I bought right before you were about to move, and it still wasn't in the tank yet. So that's the TKC Pikachu,
Oh,
that little yellow one right there. This one's the Jason Fox Fox Flame. It's starting to color up again. It had lost its color, and it's coming back. So hopefully that one does good in a couple of more months. My Cali Tort's growing like crazy.
oh my, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, that one's growing and crusting, and that's another one that I got the same time as the Pikachu. So that's that. Let me see what else. That's the pink lemonade. It color up real nice, starting crusting all over the rock, and it's kind of stagnant there right now. It's not hasn't done much anymore. That little green one back there, it's a Trolloptenius. It's hadn't done much either. That one right there is a TSA. I'm sorry, Princess Peach,
Oh yeah.
and this one's my PC Rainbow. One of them. I got two
That,
in this tank.
wow. The one I have in the holding tank is showing great polyp extension, but the color is very pale.
Yeah, this one has great color on it. And then that little piece back there, I got it from upstairs, and this other one as well.
Nice.
And the one next to it, it's a Walt Disney.
Huh. Is
Yeah.
that a frag off of another one that you have?
No, that one actually I bought it from TCA as well. The thing is, it started losing tissue from the bottom up, so I cut it and I mounted it sideways and placed it at a higher intensity, and it's starting to color up real nice and starting to show its different colors now. So that one's doing good. I bought that one on a sale, and then this one right here, that's what they call a Optimus Prime
Hmm.
from TCA as well. And that one back there is another PC Rainbow that I brought from upstairs. It's starting to grow real nice.
Yeah.
And the little green one right there, that's Dan Aykroyd from TSA as well.
Hmm.
And this one right there is a worldwide coral green slime ball. That's a little frag I had there. I'm gonna send it to Hector. Hopefully tomorrow, get it for him. And another thing, new thing, you might like is my new little acan garden.
Oh, wow. Look at those colors. It's ridiculous.
I'm loving that. So I bought some more, so I got some more that I'm gonna put up here. So basically, this whole rock is going to be acans.
I cannot keep acans alive. I don't know why. They're supposed to be an easy coral, but like for some reason I cannot keep them alive.
Yeah, well, these they recommend to feed them. If you don't feed them, they won't do as good as they would do you feeding them. So I feed these twice a week.
What do you feed them? Oyster
Reef
feast?
roids. You could feed them
Okay.
oyster feast and reef roids, whichever ones. And this one right here, if you notice, it has about 4 heads popping out
Wow.
in the bottom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I only had this one for about a month. And on the other side, let me see if I could, I don't know, zoom in, but it has about 3 more heads popping out on this side. So that one's growing pretty good. And I
I
cleaned the
just find
tank
with reef
especially
roids
for
because
you,
my
Cindy. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just feel like with reef roids for my tank because it's so small, it's only 29 gallons, and I have to be extremely careful. So I'm thinking of trying that Red Sea A and B as well, but I don't know. Have you tried that at all?
No, never tried it.
Hey, Oscar.
Yes.
I'm going to bring in Michael Lee to show us his Christmas tree worms. And I'm going to do it now because his tank is ramping down.
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
is that okay with you? All right,
Oh, yeah, yes, it is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
let's do that. Oh, okay, ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I don't know how to flip the can you hear me?
Yep.
I don't know how to
Welcome.
flip the camera.
How do you do that, Oscar?
Well, in the bottom it says it has a couple of icons. It says mic, camera, and then it has like a little gear. You're gonna hit the gear,
Okay.
and once you hit the gear, you're gonna swipe up a little bit, and then it's gonna say front, and then it's gonna say back.
Oh, okay. There we go. So, unfortunately, my polyp lab lens broke.
Oh dear.
But this is my tank. It's a Red Sea Reefer 250, and I've had it for 2.5 years, and it's gone through a few iterations, and this is the latest one where it's mostly NPS, and there's some sea apples in here, and I have a vast Aiptasia collection. And no, it's not that bad. That's a carrot coral, but it's mostly just filled with bismuth worm rocks. So
Very nice.
and some toadstools, and I don't know what else to say. And
Do the
Go ahead.
worms come out all at the same time, or do they sort of vary when they emerge? Like, are they reactive to movement, or how does that work?
Yeah, they are reactive. Well, it depends. When you get a new rock, they're very sensitive. So if you make a shadow, they'll duck back in and close their little hatch. But the more they get habituated to like fish, like I have 2 wrasses in here. I have a silver belly wrasse and a leopard wrasse. And the more the fish and other things crawl on them, they don't really care. Like this rock in the back with like the white worm is like literally a fish can be on top of it and it doesn't care.
Oh,
So they are reactive. Like when I turned on the lights here, they all of them went in. There must be close to 1,000 worms in here. So they're quite interesting. They come in lots of different colors: white, half yellow, purple, and orange. It just goes on and on and on what they do, and they're very hardy too. So I haven't had any problems. I think I've only seen 1 worm in here die. Knock on wood.
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's So
Camaro Kid is asking if you have a porcelain crab. I was a couple, 30 seconds ago, I think.
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
that guy's been through most of the iterations of the tank. I had like 8 rainbow bubble tip anemones in here, and he hung out in them, and I took them out, and he fell on the floor, and he looked up at me, and I said, "Okay, you can live," and I threw him back in. As long as you have enough, as long as you have enough particulates in the water, they can live. Like most of this stuff lives off of. I feed mostly Betta Reef and Brightwell Aquatics Reef Blizzard O.
Right.
And I feed quite a bit. There's an oyster back here. There's a canoid over here. It's curled up right now. But that's what I mostly feed, are those 2 products. And then down here in my sump, my ugly sump.
Well, this is the fun part.
So I have, it's a lot of filtration. I have an algae scrubber. I have GFO, bio pellets. This thing, I'm going blank. The, the pooper
The skimmer.
thing. Yeah. So I have that. My phosphates are around 0.10 to 0.18. That's what feeding all day long. And I don't really test nitrates. I only really test alkalinity, just to make sure nothing's being burned. And I dose, ME amino, which I think is doing a form of, well, on top of the biopellets, a form of carbon dosing. So I do 2 capfuls of that. So, and my tank's really never been overrun, I say knock on wood, with any really bad algae. So I just
Do these rocks come from like all over the world, or is there a certain region of the world that you
Yeah,
get?
they do. They mostly hang out on like big Porites colonies. Some of them are on other encrusting corals. So usually when you get them in, they're on giant. They're on Porites, and the Porites you can't really keep it alive. So especially in a high nutrient tank. So I don't really stress over the coral part of it. And to be honest, like for instance, this rock right here, which has about I think 60 or 100 worms on it, it's gonna crowd out the coral anyway and kill it just by lack of light. So it's really a focus on keeping the worms alive. And I've kept Bisma worms in this tank for like a year and a half, and this system's been up almost 3 years. So I used to spot feed at first, and now I just broadcast feed, and they weren't really as hard as I thought they were going to be, but you just got to feed them and they'll be fine.
Beautiful. And that gold colored gorgonian at the back is nice.
Yeah, we'll see how it does. The smaller the polyp on the battery now too. The smaller the polyp on a gorgonian, or anything for that matter, the harder it is to feed. So, like this one right here grows like a weed. This is a non-photosynthetic. This one does too. It's going through a shedding period. But the polyps have been out, and it's doing really well. So only with most of the stuff that we have in our tanks, time is the biggest test of all. But
right. Have you come across Continuum's microblast?
No, I'm constantly screwing with foods, and I just found that Benny Reef was the best because I could shovel as much as I could in there without there being as many negative consequences.
I love Benny Reef.
Yeah, and literally, I'm shoveling food in here, and I have to scrape my glass maybe once a week, if that. And I got into a bit of a fight with Polyp Lab where I made a remark that I can shovel as much Benny Reef as I want into my tank, but I can't do that with Polyp Lab, and Polyp Lab didn't like that and actually commented on my posting on Instagram as Garbo, which I found interesting to say the least. So I tried Reef Nutrition as well, and I found that although it's nice that the foods were live, so to speak, I just didn't feel that the consequences of overloading the system were worth it.
Yeah.
So you have to find that balance, especially in an MPS system. And I know people will go, "Oh, you need to have better export," but I have a lot of export, and the Benny Reef just suited me better. But so, what other questions do you have for me? And thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, I've been looking forward to seeing this tank because I've seen little bits of it on Instagram for a couple of months now. And I think it's fascinating having, like you said, this is like filter feeders and NPS. And to have that like a tank all dedicated to that is really interesting. Look at the colors; they're great.
Yeah, and I have corals. Oh, this is my other tank. This is the home of Ted, Theodore Ted.
Oh yeah, Ted.
Shrimp Bundy.
Yeah.
I don't feed him any live food though, because I don't eat sappy like that. But this is the mantis shrimp tank. I used to have a much larger Elos system, but I got rid of it. I just got overwhelmed, and especially with the Christmas tree rock system, it costs money to feed it, and it takes a lot of time, and it's I mean, everyone knows in this hobby, nothing's cheap.
Yeah.
So, as far as like the flow in there, I have 2 Nero 5s, and I have 2 smaller. I think I have they're not no name, but they're just added flow in there. The Gorgonian, you have to have pretty good flow for the Gorgonians and the sea apples.
Definitely.
So it's and then there's an algae scrubber. I have algae scrubbers on both the systems. This has the Santa Monica drop, so I don't have to do much for this. And this one has a Santa Monica hog, and it's just what works for me. I mean, some people might say, well, your biopellets are working against your DFO, but I'm afraid to change anything because, as Telegram said, and your other folks on there, if it's working for you, then you should continue to do it, because not everything is a cookie cutter answer. So
it's so true in this hobby. There are a million different ways things can happen.
Right, and like this system used to have like Radions, and I just have red sea lights on it right now, but I used to grow high-end LPS. If you look on my Instagram, it was like mostly high-end LPS, and I just decided I really like species-specific tanks better.
Yeah.
Than low. I think at one time I had like 10 or 15 Scalenia. I love those, but it's just whatever floats your boat, basically. So if you want, a tank full of Christmas tree worm rocks, then go ahead and do that. If you want a tank full of high-end Acropora, then do that. If you want a tank full of pulsing zinnia and Kenya trees and other things, and that's what makes you happy, then you should do it.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever suits your style. So I know that on so many Instagram and on other channels, people are showing, oh, I'm designing my tank so there's negative space and color the color wheel and stuff like that. And I didn't want my tank to be cookie cutter, and I didn't want to like emulate somebody else. And I'd never seen anything like this before. I have a friend who's just shutting one down, and he had some more rocks. He had an NPS system. His name's Algae Dude, and we were sort of putting together these worm rock, systems at the same time. So it hurts when something dies, and
Yeah.
when I watched your videos, and when your fish
Yeah.
perished, like
Yeah.
I went through the same thing on my
Yeah.
Zero system. I had I got marine. What is it called? Marine leeches, which is like a 1 in a million parasite.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, I mean, the hobby brings a lot of joy, and it brings a lot of. My wife sees me screaming at this yellow wrasse every day because he's constantly pissing me off. She's like, "Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling at the fish?" And I'm like, "Why not?" So,
Oh, yeah. Well, this is really great to see. I mean, those Christmas tree worm rocks are occasionally available around here. And the last time I saw them, they were in the $300 to $500 range.
yeah, they've gone up quite a bit because of the whole. I mean, things are a lot more expensive to ship from Indonesia. Also, for like, I would say maybe golf ball sized, maybe a little bit larger sized rocks that have a couple worms. Retailers are asking an extraordinary amount of money. I just happen to have somebody who I'm friends with in the Arizona area who had access to a lot of these. So, and I didn't want my LPS anymore, and the stars sort of aligned. But it's not something that somebody should be afraid of putting in their tank. Now, if you have a fox face, or if you have types of wrasses that are known to attack, worms such as this, then I would definitely not get these. Like a fox face, definitely not, because they attack feather dusters, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be careful. Also, really aggressive crabs. I wouldn't put I hate crabs with a passion. That's another.
Yeah.
That's another story. But there were dendros in here and sun coral, but I didn't like the sun coral because I'd have to go down after lights out and constantly feed them, which made my wife angry.
Yeah, I had sun corals years ago, before I knew what I was doing, and I was in there feeding those stupid things every night.
Right.
And it was a mistake. It was too often. It's just a rookie thing that I went through.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that I still come down here though and feed after lights out because I have that carrot coral I showed earlier.
Yeah,
It's an amazing coral because during the day it looks like I call them little Dicky because it resembles genitalia during the day, but at night the polyps come out and it's quite beautiful. It looks. There's a picture on my Instagram at Moltenemo where you can see really detailed pictures of the structure of the polyps. So,
it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's like I said before, it's what makes you happy. If it makes you happy to have a 20-foot long tank and you can afford it and you can maintain it, then go ahead. But if it makes you happy to have a smaller tank, I'm all for that as well. And I think my inspiration of getting into reefing was actually Inappropriate Reefer. I came across him on YouTube 2.5-3 years ago, and it was just this stumbling, bumbling guy who was doing his best. I'm like, I'm a stumbling, bumbling guy. I think I can start to do that. And I'm still stumbling and bumbling. Although I can give advice to other people with a little bit more authority, maybe you don't want to add that fish in there that'll eat all your coral, because I've done that before.
Yeah, I'm 11 years in, and I sometimes still feel like I'm stumbling and bumbling. Like, honestly, some of the
Right.
things.
And my all my licenses went out. So it's, as far as the worms go, yeah, they're definitely harder to find, but they do pop up in shops. The other thing that people have to be prepared for is you're not dipping these in anything.
No.
So whatever is living on that rock is going to be living in your tank. I have had
Mhm.
hitchhiker crabs in here that I could never get a hold of, and I just had to accept that they were living in there. If there's aptasia on the rock, then you just have to accept that. I mean, periodically I throw in birds and nudibranchs that wipe it out, and then they come back. So it's I mean, the aptasia was in there before, but you just have to accept what's on there. But I've had a lot of weird, neat stuff come on. I've had like tunicates come on them, and sponges, and smaller creatures, shrimp. Um, it just goes on because they're ecosystems unto themselves. There's these little um, uh, coral-like crabs. There are these little blue crabs that also accompany these rocks, and they live in symbiosis with the worms and the coral, and they're extraordinarily beautiful. There must be like a couple dozen in there.
Wow.
And they're filter feeders, and you just accept the bad with the good. And I have bubble algae in my tank, but it's been in there for years, and it's never, knock on wood again, it hasn't taken over. As long as your system is well established and there's lots of biodiversity and everything's fighting in your tank for the resources that you're putting in, I strongly believe there's nothing that can overwhelm anything else. Um, you know, it, and I see the bubble algae, and as long, even with the worms, when the bubble algae grows on the little hatch of the worm, right? The worms have developed a adaptation where they can jettison the hatch,
Huh.
and they developed that because things are going to grow on them because they're living on a parietes, right? And that parietes will eventually try to encrust over them. So the
Mhm.
worm gives the parietes a big fu, right? And
Yeah.
goes, I'm jettisoning the hatch, and I'll grow a new one. And
Huh.
that's sort of how they get around being grown over um, and overrun. So that's my, don't dip them. Don't dip your several $100 rock in iodine or Coral RX, because you'll kill the worms.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool. I'm really glad you're able to get on here and show us that. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and I love watching your videos and the advice that you give, even when your tank, I love when people show when they go through the bad, as well as the good, because there's a lot of bad that happens in this hobby.
There
Right?
is.
Whether it's heaters that are melting, or ATOs that dump all of the ATO into your system, or other technological failures. I think that's probably why I only have an ATO on my tanks, and I only keep like less than a gallon of water in the ATO, which maybe defeats the purpose of having the reservoir. But
It's
I'm very paranoid about things that could potentially kill everything with one failure, such as dosers. Or I live in Arizona, so I don't have to worry about using a heater. But
yeah.
those are, and I have a friend who runs a coral business, and I asked him. I said, "Do you have?" Not to knock people who do have like apexes and other forms of control, but he says, "No, I have $100,000 in inventory. I can't leave it up to a machine to screw up once and wipe me out."
You know, it's a fair comment. I mean, I really like the idea of being able to monitor things, but would I allow it to do stuff? No. No.
Yeah, monitoring. I think monitoring is, and this thing doesn't want to come out, but he's there. I think it's fair enough to want to monitor things, but I think that you have to really trust in the technology if you're going to have it dose, if you're going to have it control your heater, if you have a heater, or your flow, or because God knows the stuff that we have in our tanks is not cheap, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a if you trust it, you trust that Apex or the Coral View or the GHL or whatever, that's fine. Like, more power to you, and God bless you for going on vacation, which I have not in quite some time.
Oh darn! You know what I didn't do? I didn't ask you the troll question, and that is one of them, which is, have you ever not gone on vacation because of your tank? And it sounds like that's been you.
No, I like, there's automation on the tank, right? So the lights go on when they're supposed to go on. I do have an ATO that I don't trust, and that beeps at 2 a.m. for no reason. I have pumps that are automated, right? They have their flow pattern.
Yep.
But even when I did have coral in this thing, lots of coral that used lots of alkalinity, I was hand dosing everything. I just couldn't bring myself to, like, I spent like $200 on a Jabao on a doser, a Coral View doser, and I watched it work for a day, and I'm like, this isn't really being accurate in how this is dosing things out. And perhaps I wasn't calibrating it correctly, but at least I know that if I miss dose a day, that it's not catastrophic to my tank.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to happen every day.
Right, and it's probably not going to happen every day. I remember one day I double dosed alkalinity. When I thought I was dosing alkalinity and calcium or something like that. And I went, oh my God, I double dosed alkalinity. So my alkalinity went up like 0.2 or 0.3 DKH, depending on what the Hannerator was reading. And nothing really was bothered in the tank. Now, if your doser decides to dose all the alkalinity in the tank, burn, baby, burn. That's what
exactly.
it's going to do in the tank. So if you have the time to dose, then dose. But I think there's merits to both sides. I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it because I don't have the, I can't get 15 rocks again.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and the bans that there were from Indo when Indo was closed up was one thing, and then we come along with a pandemic, which affects worldwide movement of goods no matter what. So we have to be more careful with what we have, because we may not be able to get another one.
That's correct, and I do see shipments coming in more often. Like, I troll Instagram. I guess I'm a troll, but you can see when things come in, like when you see 5 dealers who all have Holy Grail torches, and are trying to sell them. Like, I when those shipments are coming in, and I'm not a big fan of Euphelia in general. I think they're wonderful and awesome and beautiful, but if you have a crab in there who decides it wants to eat your stuff, and they usually want it, and not that this didn't happen to me, but it happened to me. I had an emerald crab that ate a Holy Grail torch, and then it went on to another torch. Wow. And some corals are more robust than others, and there's just too many things. At least for me, the risk versus the reward is not enough for me. Yeah. And I see it all the time. I see it with people around me in my local area where the torches or the Euphelia just jelly, or on Instagram where somebody makes a frowny face and go, my torch is melted, and then the next day they go and buy more torches. But I can't do that.
No.
I can't do that.
No.
And it's unfortunate. Like, my personal opinion, the best LPS are like acanthophilia or scalemia. I think I showed you one time I had a really nice scalemia that got eaten by a lobo.
Yeah,
right?
I love the large solitary polyp corals. I really do. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to in the new tank is giving those things the space they need to spread out. My Cinerina, the one on the right-hand side, is probably 10 inches across when it's fully open. And it's right against the rocks. It's mostly in the shade. It's surviving, but I can hardly wait to see what it does when it actually has space around it and a little bit better light. So those solitary polyp corals, I think are beautiful, and they're a little more rare because they can't be propagated readily, if at all. So they can't be harmed.
I look at it this way. I look at it this way. I had a lobo, not lobo. I had that really, God, it was it must have been like an ultra. It wasn't a master, but it was an ultra scully. It was beautiful. Where half of it was eaten. All I did with that thing, because it was healthy, was feed it pellets every single day, sometimes twice a day, and it grew back. You can't do that with a Euphelia head that's dying.
It's hard.
Or a wall that's that's dying. But it's just a matter of I've had everything in terms of coral, and it just hurt too bad. And some people might say, well, don't get it if you can't afford to lose it. But sometimes it's not a matter of money either. It's also a matter, I can't get a hold of that thing again.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got
go ahead.
I've got Sharbuckle's Reef here, and he's talking in the comments about Euphilia kind of along the same lines as you are. So I'm going to bring him in. And
sure.
Hey, Sean.
Hello.
Sean, whoa. Hopefully your internet is going to cooperate tonight.
I preemptively stole my girlfriend's phone.
Awesome.
So we're good. We're good.
That's great. Yeah, so you have the same kind of thoughts about Euphilia and torches and stuff as Mike.
I don't know.
It's a crapshoot. It really is.
I've seen so many people lose hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Every type of coral, but I feel like every week on Instagram there's someone like, oh my God, I lost my gold torch today. Every week there's somebody. So I don't trust them. I think they're a huge gamble nowadays.
They are, and honestly, in my experience, stability makes such a difference in a tank, and I really don't think stability comes along quickly unless you really know what you're doing and you have the tools and you take the steps you need to take to achieve stability early on, right? And that comes with experience. So newbies coming in cannot have that type of stability early on. They have to wait, and yet they've. I wonder if torches are one of the things that bring people into the hobby, and then you say, well, you really should wait until you've got stability.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get them anyway, and then they just don't survive.
Yeah,
I don't know whose microphone is doing it, but it sounds like their phone's in their pocket. That might be Mike.
Yeah, I think I need to leave and disconnect. I need to leave. Oh, there, it's fixed now.
Okay. I couldn't really hear Cindy there. It sounded like a pocket dial.
Let me leave and come back. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh.
So the tank's looking good.
Thanks. Yeah. It's been a while. Welcome back, by the way. I'm so excited to see you.
Thank you. It feels good. You don't know how much you miss it until it's gone, right?
I missed you right away.
Aw. Well, I was pretty disappointed that I couldn't take it up where we were living temporarily, but it just wasn't going to work. And I didn't I really didn't want to put on a substandard experience because it just becomes frustrating.
Yeah.
You know.
Oops. I'm gonna mess with the lights here.
Oh.
The only downside to this Huawei phone is it auto balances and I can't turn it off. So I'm just really trying to make it look like it's not glowing pink. There we go. That's not bad.
So you've got Big Mama and what else in there? Got a rabbit fishing?
I helped a friend move a 220-gallon aquarium, which was awful. So he gave me a couple of the fish from the tank shut down. So I got a coal tang in there and a lemon chromis.
Oh, okay.
So it's this like really big chromis, almost as big as the clownfish. But
Wow.
Big Mama's just a bully and bullies both of them. So I'm probably gonna rehome both of them just because she's gotten really aggressive in the past couple months for whatever reason.
Yeah. Oh, here's
And I'm not getting rid of her. So.
No. She's been with you for too long.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be getting a pair of clownfish next week. Yep. We can hear you. That's great.
Yeah, that's way better.
Hopefully it sounds better. But yeah, I totally agree with the whole torch thing. And it's just like I've lost so much in you find something that's really rare and nice, and all you can do is your best in keeping it. Some things just aren't gonna adapt well to your tank, no matter what you do, even though all the numbers say that everything is perfect. So the losses come with the hobby, of course. You just have to do your best to minimize those. But I hate fish personally. I hate them with like a passion.
You hate fish?
I have. I do. I hate them, but I love them so much. It's mainly the parasites that accompany the fish, and vendors who sell fish that aren't healthy or have systems that have ick. That's like I know ReefGrrl went on great expositions in certain videos about vendors that sell you crap that's unhealthy, but I trust the health of coral and what I can do for coral more than what I can do for fish. And I've had quarantine systems, and those parasites still find their way in, and other times fish just die because they die, and you're like, damn, that's when you're really flushing down the toilet.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Rebuilding Our Brand, welcome. Yeah. So, Sean, you've got a lot of SPS going on in this tank.
It's sort of the complete opposite of what I was doing last year.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking.
I kind of went.
Your gorgeous, flowy, soft coral tank, and now you're the polar opposite.
Yeah, complete opposite. I mean, I've got a couple like zoanthids in here, but other than that, it's about 75% sticks. So,
and
I'm loving it.
I still have a weepy toadstool for you.
Hey, I have another tank. So, I have my little display kind of refugium after you can't really see it there. The light's really low right now, but it's got room.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I still want that toadstool. It must be a full-size piece now. Probably not a frag anymore.
No, it's not a frag anymore. It's got a stem that's probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches long because it's in the back corner of Mollywood. It was getting so big it kept getting knocked over, so I moved it there up against the Egyptian statue guy, and it's in the very back corner, and I keep wondering if it's attaching itself to the statue guy. And I think once I know when we can meet and I can give it to you, I'm going to cut it closer to the crown because right now it would fall over no matter where you put it, and it's not
Sure.
all that attractive. It's that the proportions are all wrong. So I will cut it off and reattach it to a rock, and
Cool.
and see what happens.
Yeah. Who knows when we'll ever be able to go to a show again? But
Yeah.
I do want to come out to Toronto now that I'm back to work and actually have a paycheck. I want to come out to Toronto and do a little coral shopping. So
Yeah, that would be good. They're talking about Niagara Coral Show in May, and
oh man, but who knows if that's gonna happen really?
and really when it got put off in March to July, I figured that would be fine. Or actually, it got put off to May 1st and then to July, and then they just decided to leave it. And the last thing I saw, it was going to be next May. I don't know.
Well, I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Chase V here as well, waiting to come in.
Come in.
Chase has a new tank. Let's bring him in. Hey, Chase.
Hey, what's up, Cindy?
How are you?
It's been a long day.
I bet you did a lot of long days.
Well, yeah. This has been a long day for the tank, though. I literally just got the water running in this system within the last few hours. So.
Wow. So can you turn your phone?
Let me do that. It's been so long since I've been on. I'm like, don't know.
This way we get to see the full view of your 250.
Yeah, let me back up a little bit.
Wow.
And full disclaimer, everything you see, I mean, the aquascape's pretty permanent, but, I've just got it in a functional running mode at this point. I still have to, I have to lower the canopy and center it and do all that kind of detail stuff. And I'm still tuning the overflow and stuff like that. So bear with me.
What size tank is that?
It's a 250 gallon.
50. Nice.
Yeah. So it's 6 foot long. It's 3 feet deep.
That's badass.
And it's 22 inches high.
Love it. I love those dimensions.
Yeah, it's so far so good. I've been really enjoying it. So it's kind of like a halfway lagoon. I don't know what you call it. It's a little shallower, but I wanted to try to keep it open and give the fish some space.
Is it cross braced or is it Euro braced?
It has this aluminum framing on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
do you find you have shadows going across from the bracing?
Well, so I have the lights are in the center of the braces. So, I mean, it's the best I can get it basically. And then I have kind of the bars going around the outside.
I love that. What a great idea. I never would have thought of that. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And unfortunately, the one on the right burnt out on me after 2 hours of running it. So I'm working on getting the warranty and getting that one replaced.
And what brand are they?
These are the Reef Breeders Lumen bars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the two long ones are, I think it's a UV and blue blend, and then the 24-inch ones on the end are kind of just more blue, royal blue. Yeah. And then G5s.
I love how you've got them installed in the canopy. That looks really cool. Some good even spread in the tank too, for sure.
Yeah, I have it raised a lot higher up just so I could work and get everything in right now. I'm going to lower it down to probably about 8 inches above the tank. So it's about 1.5 feet right now.
Very nice.
But,
hey, we've got a question in the chat about transferring contents from one tank to another. you guys have done a lot of this kind of stuff. I've done a little bit. Mike Horan. Hey, Mike. Need some advice on tank transfer. Main tank cracked. He moved all his corals to his QT. That was about 16 months ago. He wanted to upgrade the coral grow out tank. He actually has 2 QT/coral tanks and no actual reef tank. So he decided he's going to make his new tank a reef tank. Is there a safe way to transfer the QT contents and beneficial bacteria and my new aquascape? I think, well, I can't see why you couldn't just move everything into I guess you'd want to start with putting the sand down first and then the rock. I don't know. What do you guys think?
For me, when I've done tank transfers, and I've done it a good amount of times now, is new sand. Always start with new sand. Never use old sand. And then take whatever rock or like filter media from the old stuff, put that in first, and then use as much water from the old system as possible. I mean, unless it's been medicated, it's a QT tank, so there might be medication in there. But if not, then just as much water as you can, get some fresh water mixing just in case, and you can do it in an hour, and it's totally fine. It's pretty seamless, but you got to have a plan going at it, because if something goes wrong and you don't have enough water heated up, or you don't have enough kind of cycled media, I guess, in the current tank, then could be a problem. I would just go get a bunch of live rock or dry rock and put it in the QT tank for a month or two, and then do the transfer.
Yeah, I guess it depends also where you're moving it. I mean, to me, the biggest problem would be if you wanted to put the new tank where your existing tanks were. Because that's a whole different process. But if you're moving to a different tank in a different location within your house, that's relatively straightforward. But from the times I've done it, you definitely need a plan. You definitely need to allow twice as much time as you think you will need, and you're right, have extra salt water available.
Heat it up and ready to go just in case. But I always use just as much tank water from the old tank as possible.
Yeah.
And as much of the media, as long as it hasn't been medicated.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to finish my video.
Copper or anything.
Yeah, exactly. I have the video partly done about moving my reef from the Red Sea into the holding tank. And it's kind of sad in a way, because I still had all my fish. And, back then, it was back last June. But I'm going to finish that video because at the time I was really uncertain about whether it would work, and it did work. It went well. And there's maybe a few things that might be helpful to people looking at this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just about having a plan and putting it to good use. I've moved tanks from house to house, from floor to a different floor to, small tank to a big tank to a small tank, and I've never had any issues whatsoever. It's as long as you kind of have a plan, stick to it, and move relatively quickly.
And have extra empty containers on hand, and bigger than you think you might need. Yeah.
Look at this tank. That's a sweet frag tank.
This is basically what allowed me to transfer the tank so easily. I basically had to move a lot of corals into here, or I fragged stuff off. I'll cut real quick. This is the old tank that came down, 125.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that.
It basically has an inch of water, and it smells a little bit. And we're just picking out kind of straggling snails and stuff. My wife was really enjoying that for some reason, but anyway. So yeah, basically, I mean, kind of this topic hits close to home, because I just transferred my tank today. So
wow.
I mean,
Oh, that happened today.
yeah, that was just today.
Wow.
So it is really just about having a plan. I mean, this tank in here, I had about 3/4 of the way full, so it wasn't draining anywhere, and I cycled it for a couple months, and today, so what I did today was basically I took the plumbing off of this tank and plumbed in this tank to the rest of the system, which is all this stuff, sump and all that. So that was my day today, basically disconnecting the one tank and hooking the other tank into everything. So the last couple days I've just been adding calcium and alkalinity to the 250 that has been cycling, just to get it right where this other system is, so that when I combine the two, it wasn't too much of a shift for the corals. And my nitrates have been a little elevated, so I was kind of happy that I was combining a lot of new water volume, because that probably cut my nitrates down quite a bit. And then I just have to make sure I don't want my phosphates to bottom out, so I gotta watch that, because last time I tested, they were about 0.03. So with all that new clean water, I just got to be careful there. I just probably dose a little more coral food or something tonight, but
yeah.
I just had a lot of buckets, a lot of water. The system's kind of unique how it's plumbed. I could keep once I disconnected the main tank, I could keep the rest of the system running. And so that afforded me a little bit more time to, frag corals out of the tank and then put them into here. I didn't want to move much into the 250 besides the fish, just basically some extra corals that I couldn't fit in the frag tank. And then I put all the old rock. I didn't put any of the old rock from the 125 into the 250. I just put it all in this. I have a 90-gallon refugium that's set up, connected to everything. And so I just threw basically all the old rock and stuff on there.
Why didn't you use any of the old rock in the new system?
Well, I mean, it's technically still in the system. All the water's connected, so
okay.
I'm not really losing the rock, but I didn't want to transfer any of the, it has algae on it and all the other stuff. So I just wanted the 250 to be clean and just kind of get a fresh slate, but still be connected to the water system.
So did you use dry rock for the new display, or like life rock or something like that? Or?
It's about half dry rock, half rocks that I had just cured in a tank, with just like in a bin with salt water kind of thing. That I've been curing for a while. So I aquascaped with that, and then I did a fishless cycle. I used like the ammonia liquid and then bacteria. So
that's the way to go.
Awesome.
So now it's all connected.
You can control it more.
Yeah, we just tested the calcium alkalinity. My wife was nice enough to do that. She's been testing calcium alkalinity all day. It's kind of funny, but funny to me.
Oh, I just realized you don't have hoses and pipes going from one side to the other anymore.
No, the floor is clear.
You can walk down there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So I still have to clean up kind of how everything looks, but I can tell my SPS are kind of stressed out. But I mean, some of the stuff has its polished back out, and you can't. The video's not. I can't zoom in, but
yeah, I can kind of see it.
They're doing all right.
On the bottom one there, there's some threads out on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus's Reef, welcome.
So
it has been a while. Looking good.
So I think everything's gonna make it. But
awesome. Where's the giant red waterfall of zoanthus, Twizzlers, or whatever they were?
To be honest, most of those are just down in the refugium on those rocks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so, I mean, you can see...
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch. Got a big chalice back there that I just have too much of.
That's a good problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Some corals just grow really fast. It's weird. Got all my lobos over here.
What's that one on the first square frag tile? The red and the yellowy, up a little bit. Yeah, what's that? Is that chalice or?
Yeah, that's another chalice.
That's nice. I like that.
Thanks. Here, I think you can turn the lights up a little bit. Let's see.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have
Whoa.
I have the filter on. I mean, it's blue lights.
Oh, wait.
But that's what I got right now.
There you go.
Okay, go back. Please, please. Oh, boy. That looks like molten lava. Beautiful. This does work for you.
What's your favorite piece right now, please?
My favorite corals are lobos, to be honest. In general, as a species,
Nice.
but my favorite coral in my tank is this Millie here. It's the Jason Fox. I think it's solar flare or supernova or something like that. I don't know. It's orange and green.
Nice, wicked. Yeah, Millie. I am pretty in love with Millipora right now. Just because they grow so incredibly fast and well in my tank. So anything that grows well, I'm in love with, basically.
Yeah. I got so many frags in here now. They're stinging each other.
Uh-oh.
I just didn't have enough room. So
That Monty looks great.
yeah, I got a massive peppermint shrimp that lives in there. I don't know if I'll. He's right there. I don't know if you can see him, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have 2 peppermint shrimp that have lived for over a year in Mollywood, and they ate the Aptasia immediately, and now they just come out when I feed the tank and go crazy.
My peppermint shrimp always seem to disappear, and I feel like it's my Millinaris wrasse.
Oh, yeah.
But
Could be.
they always seem to get to the Aptasia and take care of it before they disappear, so that's good. It's only happened twice.
yeah, this
What's
is
that?
the only one that's survived. That peppermint shrimp.
Cindy Coral Gal would like you to just send some frags her way.
Me too, please.
Yeah. Well, it's looking really good. You know, have you sort of got a plan as to how you're going to move everything and what sort of a timeline do you have for that, if at all?
As far as putting corals into the other tank.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I took this whole week off work, and so I want to kind of start thinking about, you know, where I'm going to move stuff and how I'm going to aquascape.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to, I'm not in a huge rush because it's all already in the water, you know, in the system
Yeah.
it's going to be in. So
Yeah.
as long as stuff isn't, I mean, as long stuff, you know, I get a little worried because like if these lobos, like they blow into each other, they'll just like decimate each other, you know, in a night easily. So I just get a little nervous having this much stuff all together, but definitely have a little leeway. So I'll just probably slowly move stuff over there in the next couple days, and I'll leave a lot of stuff in here too, you know.
Yeah. Do lobos attack their own kind as well?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. And to be honest, some things that I call lobos are probably not all exactly the same species, you know, because sometimes a lot of the corals look similar. A lot of the LPS look similar to each other, just depending on their color and kind of the shape that they happen to be growing in. So, you know, maybe two things that fought each other weren't the same species, and I just thought they were, or something like that. But
Well, they just reclassified Welsophilia, Trachophilia, Symphilia as Lobophilia, and I'm sorry, I object because, like, I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, but as somebody that likes to try and know what I have, so I know how to care for it, it's really difficult because, like Symphilia, for example, they have multiple mouths. Trachophilia doesn't have multiple mouths; it has one mouth. But they're both now considered Lobophilia. And when I say Symphilia, you know what I'm talking about. But if I say Lobophilia that used to be called Symphilia, why do I have to say it? You know what I mean? It doesn't.
yeah,
It just makes it more difficult.
It's convoluted.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just me.
I've gotten some green hair algae this winter for whatever reason.
No, not just you. It's not just you.
But I don't worry about it too much in this frag tank because honestly, I can just take this stuff out and I'll just spray it with some peroxide.
Yeah.
And brush it off with a toothbrush and then spray it with peroxide and let it sit for a minute and then put them back in. And I haven't seen
that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any coral that doesn't like that, or they don't like it, but they don't mind it.
Well, and I found that if I have a couple of zoanthids or a favia or something that's getting encroached on by algae, I take the little cap off my hydrogen peroxide spray bottle and I put it over the area of the coral that I'm spraying, like just gently, and I can spray right close to it. Mm-hmm. And that way I'm not damaging the coral at all. And you can only do that with small ones, of course, but I've sometimes even taken my thumb and kind of curled it around the coral to protect it from the peroxide, and I just spray the whole rock. And it's amazing. Yeah. The next day, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Hey, Cindy, I don't know if you said this already, but where are you getting your tank from? Is it a custom build?
It's going to be custom, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting it from Concept.
Oh, yeah? Why not like someone closer, like Miracles?
It has a lot to do with costs of shipping. And
really?
Concept includes shipping in their price.
Isn't Miracles like much closer though? Wouldn't it?
It is, but shipping is ridiculous. And they ship their tanks to a specific mover that they use, who is an aquarium mover, specializes in aquariums. And I have to contact him because even if I get the tank dropped off at my house by the build, like shipped by the manufacturer, I still have to get it in the house. So sure. I have to figure out, and plus this mover is in Guelph, so it's almost 2 hours from where I live now. So there's going to be travel time, right, all of that kind of stuff. So I may try and find someone local. I do have someone in mind who's in an aquarium business. And the other thing was the stand. I have very specific things that I want with the stand, including the walking platforms. And Concept was able to send me pictures of stuff they've done before. So
they make wicked tanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good at what they do.
Yeah. I did do some reading and a bit of research and found a lot of really great comments about them. But I do need to get moving on that because otherwise with build time, and it's not a big company, I'm going to be well into the new year before I even get it. And I just don't want to push my luck with the temporary reef because it's not ideal for most of what's in there. So we'll see.
Babe, can you
My
tell me the
last
vape
tank.
pen?
Sorry, Chase.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking to my wife. Let me mute myself.
Oh. My last tank, Cindy, the cube, the softy cube, there was a concept tank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I bought it used, like from the original owner who ordered it for concept, but I loved it. It was great, really well done.
Yeah.
Clean.
And from what I've read, you really have to be specific in the details of what you want, because they will build exactly what you ask for. And, and a couple other hints, like for example, I'm getting a coast-to-coast overflow with space for 2 returns. And someone suggested making sure the finished water level is where you want it, because they didn't specify, and they ended up with a finished water level about a 1/2 inch below the top of the glass. So because I do want to try and do some things with surging with power heads and see what I can set up. So I'm going to need a little more room to do that. Even with a Euro brace, and there's things too, like notches for cords at the back where the weir is, to make sure you have notches for cords in the brace and the weir, so you can actually get cords into the tank for power heads. Stuff like that. You have to be very, very specific. So
you sort of have to think of it all, right, before you place the order. You got to think of every little detail. But I mean, when you're going with your, as you would say, your last tank, you got to have exactly how you want it, so nothing bugs you for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Exactly. So it's still a work in progress, even just getting the quote together, but I've heard really good things about them. I've done a lot of reading and looked into it, and I'm ordering it through a retail store through the LFS. So I like the idea of having that backup as well if I have any problems, or if I need some help or whatever, then I have that as a resource rather than dealing directly with concept. So it's gonna be
go ahead.
No, I was done.
I was going to say, I actually emailed Concept a few times about getting a tank built before I ended up with this thing, and they never once got back to me, and I emailed them 3 times. So if you've got someone that can deal with that, awesome.
Yep, exactly. And I'm willing to wait. I'm a patient person, but I don't want to be sitting here this time next year still waiting for my tank.
True. Yeah, I'm super.
I mean, I'm taking up space in my daughter's house that they want to use for something else, and there's that. It's a whole room, and it's a stinking mess. It's just, well, maybe it doesn't stink. It actually smells like the ocean, which I love, but it's really disorganized. I can't put things where I want them. I have to deal with the space I have available. I so appreciate that they're doing that for me, but I don't want to impose any longer than I have to. So, I mean, one of the things we're talking about doing is getting the 150-gallon stock tank that I plan to make kind of the center of my sump, and just get it running so that I can move the contents of the 90 into it and get things adjusted. And I even thought about setting up the entire sump system and putting a return pump on it to create a closed loop within the sump system, so that it'll be ready to go when I get the tank. All I have to do is put the tank in and get the water in, and I can plumb them together, and I already will have a mature sump system going. Well, mature, maybe a couple of months. So I have to do some reading about that and see if it's
that's wicked
or not. But
I think anything you can do to kind of break it down into steps is great. Because doing it all at once is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So.
And there's so many things, like so many little kinks you can work out. Like, for example, is the way I want the overflow going to work with the rest of the system, because I want the water to come down from the tank into about a 60-gallon vessel and then flow from that into the 150 and then flow from that into the 275s and then go back up to the tank. Is it going to work? I have no idea. So I have a lot of reading and research to do to figure out how that's going to go. And it's a great opportunity to try it out. And what's my risk? A couple of $100 if I wreck a stock tank because I've drilled the holes in the wrong place. Yeah. You know, as opposed to who knows what, if you set it all up, flip the switch, and it's a disaster. So,
hey, I mean, I have 3 large tanks plumbed into one sump. I mean, it's just the water follows the gravity. You just have to have it pumping and draining.
Yep, so. Exactly. And I'm seriously thinking of external pumps. I want 2 returns, each on their own pump. And I have to figure out how all that's going to work. If you shut one off, what happens with the water level? How does that impact the flow? Like all of that kind of stuff. I have to figure it out.
Cindy,
why do you want to go external?
Only because it'd be easier for maintenance than because they don't get as dirty inside.
Lights out.
Yeah. My return pump does get pretty dirty.
Yeah.
We could fix that.
But I don't clean it and it still works pretty well. But
yeah.
I mean I'll have to clean it eventually. Hey, yeah. But I was gonna ask you, Cindy, have you decided on the dimensions of your tank? Because I watched that one video and you were like, at one point it was gonna be like 72 by 70, like it was like 6 by 6 or something. And I was like, okay, this is getting crazy.
Ridiculous, yeah. No, originally I wanted a 72-inch because I wanted big fish. It was always going to be deep front to back. And my original thought was 72 wide by 48 front to back by around 22 high.
Mm-hmm.
That's so awesome.
But the problem is the room that it's in, well, the room I'm sitting in is 10 feet wide. And there's a little alcove that was supposed to be a closet in a bedroom. And I just had them make an alcove. And there's plumbing in there. And I've already got a laundry cabinet thing set there ready to be connected up. And there's a light and all that kind of stuff. But the point is I only have 10 feet of width to work with. So if I put 6 foot of tank in it, that only gives me 2 feet on either side to get around the tank. And when I laid that down on the floor and looked at it, I realized it's going to be so hard. Even like if I want walkways that pull out, there's going to be no room for me to step down off the walkway. 2 feet is just not enough. So that's why I decided it's only going to be 60 inches wide. And I'm going to kind of cheat. I'm not going to center it in the room. I'm going to push it towards the front wall a little bit to give me more space over by my alcove. And I'll get like 2.5 feet on either side. And that little bit of space is going to make a lot of difference. Mm-hmm. So 60 that way, like going across, and it'll end up being a peninsula type because it'll come out either 66 or 72. I haven't really finalized yet what that's going to be. So essentially 60 by 72 or 60 by 66. 60 by 66 at 22 inches of glass with 19 inches of water. That gives me around 320 gallons of water. Calculated.
Man, that's going to be a cool size.
Yeah,
and that's going to be full year over ice too, right?
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I love to see the aquascape on that. It's going to have to be creative. I just think there's going to be a portion of the center of that tank that's going to be, I wouldn't say unserviceable, but it's going to be very low service area.
Yeah. Yeah, my plan
is... But you can
do
so many cool things with those dimensions. It's just awesome.
Well, I've got some drawings already about what I want to do and how I want to lay it out. And I am already cooking some rocks. They've been in a tub for probably 3 months now, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, probably 3 months. And they're old coral skeletons. And they're massive. and one is shaped like an open, I don't know, like just like arms coming out. And another one is a fungia plate that's about this big. There's a sponge that's upright. It's all coral skeletons. So they're getting ready. And my thought is to build kind of like a cave structure in the middle at the back so that fish have a lot of places to go and create territories. And then that way I don't need to worry too much about trying to get underneath it on a regular basis to do maintenance. The coral will go on top of it, and it'll essentially be the refuge where all the fish condo, I guess.
Nice.
And then the rest of it I want as open as possible with a lot of arches and a central open area where that's where I'm thinking I'm going to put these coral skeletons in some sort of an arrangement that I was thinking if I put them so the arms go into the sand, on each arm I could start growing encrusting corals like different cythastrias or chalices or something, and I can adjust the lights so that, you know how the middle of your tank often has the brightest light? I can adjust my light placement so that I don't have that, so that I can get some dim light in those areas. I with bridges going from the side, and I don't know. I have lots and lots of two little fishies, little rocks, and little feet. And me and the Marco E mortar are going to spend some time in the garage on a folding table building arches, and then they're going to be put into bins to cure. So
Yeah. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. So yeah. Pardon?
I've never had a tank big enough to have to cement the stuff together.
Yeah.
I always just kind of do the stack and pray method.
Yeah. I built these with that Marco cement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's great stuff.
It's like a little arch thing.
Well, when I did Mollywood, I used the Marco E mortar and the Carib Sea shapes, the arches. I actually bought a box of shapes. I had a donut like that, and I had two arches, and I had another more solid rock. And one of the arches was broken. So what I did was I rotated it and cemented it together with the Marco E mortar, and I bet you the joint is less than an inch where I joined the two pieces together, and that thing is rock solid. It's amazing stuff.
Okay. Nice. I love the Carib Sea shapes too. They're a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah.
That's what my tank's all made for. Box of that stuff.
Yeah, Diacanthus reef. That's exactly what I'm going to do because the Red Sea, I think, is a bean animal with the pipe, the overflow pipe, the emergency, and the return. Except I'll have two returns. It is going to be an external overflow box, and yes, we do have to do the calculations to figure out how much water that thing can hold before it drains. So, yeah, it's a lot of figuring out to do, and I'm going to need help, and that's where I'm relying on Fish Store Guy to help me as well. One pump load at lower height, open siphon. Yeah. I understand the concepts. It's doing the math to figure it out and then sourcing the pumps that are going to be able to handle it because they're going from the basement upstairs. So it's going to be, and it's a 42 inch tall stand is what I'm planning. So
nice.
So that's going to be 5 feet off the floor to the top of to where the returns will be. Add it to 8 feet, and we have full height basements because we did the extra height in the basement. So I'm looking at probably 13 to 15 feet. So it's
yeah, that's decent.
Hey David, thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening. That's great. Yeah, there's so much you have to think of, and in some ways you can't really take it one step at a time, because if you don't build the right foundation, you're not going to end up with the right finished point, you know, that you make a mistake early on and you just have to live with it.
Yeah, I'm living with it right now. I don't know if you can hear that water noise, but that's me installing my gate valve improperly, and it makes a trickling noise. Luckily, the tank's in the basement, so it doesn't bother anyone.
That's nice.
Yeah, it really looks beautiful.
Thanks. I'm just trying to. There we go.
Okay, you've got some fish in your tank. You've got a Tomini tank.
Yeah, he came over from the 125.
Nice. Oh, you do have some coral in there.
Yeah, everything that couldn't fit in the frag tank. That's my 8-year-old tongue coral.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Pagoda cut back there.
Yeah, what a great spot for it. See, this is what I want, is the open areas of sand. So those things can develop the way they should. Or, well, I guess not really, because it's never going to be 15 feet across, but you know what I mean.
It's Miyagi tort. That's a
What do you
coral
got?
that grows like a weed.
Wow.
And it's getting enough light there in the bottom corner, all the way in the sand bed.
Well, I just put it in there today transferred it from the other tank, so I didn't really take the time to.
Oh, that's right.
Decide where I wanted to put it, so it'll be okay for a bit.
I totally forgot you did that today. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
And the other part of all of this too is when you're starting with existing specimens of a decent size, you can plan where things are going to go better, because it's not like when you first start out and you bring a coral home and it's part of a plan that you have and then it dies. And for whatever reason, you can't replace it to match what you originally wanted, either because that coral won't survive in your tank, or it's a bad spot for another reason.
Oops.
So it's hard to make a plan and stick with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, like just today with the transfer, some stuff you just kind of have to do, kind of spur of the moment, kind of roll with the punches a little bit. And, when I was taking all the rocks out and just trying to salvage corals off the rocks, I was just like, at the beginning, I was so meticulous and worried about everything. And by the end, I was just like chisel, hammer, like just breaking stuff apart, just salvaging whatever like came off, and then just throwing stuff in there. It's just
exactly
kind of funny, but
yeah. Oh, hey, producer Reef. Yeah, it's amazing how things change as the day wears on and your feet get sore.
Yes, yeah.
I was looking at my 2 pillars in the middle of the temporary tank, and those are the ones that I built out of the Texas Holy Rock, specifically for encrusting corals, and then Acropora at the top. And some of them, there's a Leptocerus at the bottom that's massively encrusted, and then there's a jack-o'-lantern, and there's a couple of Leptastria, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, I'm going to be lucky if I can get the original frag off there to start all over. The only other option is to try and hack that thing apart that I put together with the Marco E mortar. And I don't know that I could do that either, because what do? Take it out of the water and go at it with a sledgehammer? I have no idea. So that's
I kind of want to see you do that.
Oh, believe me, it'll be a video if I do that. But that's the other.
Can you film that? Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Are you kidding? These days, if I see a disaster, the first thing I do is grab my camera. It's so it's awful, but it's true. If something's bad, I want to get video of it, because believe it or not, it does help if you go back later if you need to look at something for reference. But yeah, And that's the other reason for getting a 150 stock tank and turning it into like a separate holding tank, because then I can spend some time experimenting at my own house in my own space and see what I can do to get some of those corals off that rock so that I can salvage them. And then there's the part about, what do you do with the rock that still has coral on it? You might not use it, but what do you do? Throw it away? Try and give it to somebody else? I have no idea. I hate the idea of throwing rock away that contains encrusting corals, but I have no idea what else I would do with it.
Yeah, mine's all in my refugium.
Hey, John B. Reef. Yeah, it's maybe I need to turn Mollywood into a giant sort of holding tank for bits and pieces. I don't know.
Well,
then you got to look after it, right?
Yeah, I have one of those. I have one of those bandsaw things, and hand tools or whatever. And there's just some parts of just way the rocks are shaped and the ways the corals encrust. There's just some parts that you can't get off without you're going to destroy the coral, or you have to get lucky for the break to go just right. If you're breaking apart the rock, or I broke some chalice corals today right in half trying to get them off the rock. Just because that's just how the thing cracked, and even trying to be careful about it. By the end, that's kind of why by the end I was just hacking through stuff, because I realized that even taking my time and being careful, the stuff cements itself to the rock, and it's just some of the stuff you can't saw it off with the bandsaw because the rock's too thick, or it's at a weird angle, or and so I found that I tried to make frags of all my corals, even some of the SPS, even some of my favorite colonies. They just kind of got shredded today, and I was like, well, I'll just try to make frags of them, make sure I have some options in some different spots, and just see which one grows back and kind of makes it through. But
and there's also the matter of incorporating the rock into the new aquascape and making decisions there. I mean, I have some coral that I don't want to lose. If I can't get it off the rock in any way that's not going to destroy it, then I have to take that rock and pretty much examine it so carefully, because there's fermented snails, there's going to be algae, other stuff, and try and get it as clean as I can. And then what do? Put it in the tank and think, okay, we're good, and then see fermented snails pop up somewhere? Like, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to wait and see.
It's tough because, there's just pros and cons to each method,
Yep. Yeah, Insane Reefer says that's how he knows his coral is growing, via video. It's so true. It is so true. When I look back at some of the videos, I cannot believe how it's changed. Oh, hey, good night, Sean. Sorry to lose you there. I think his battery must have cracked.
Yeah. I noticed he wasn't in.
Yeah, good night there, Sean. Thanks for coming in. Cool. Well, that looks beautiful. I think it's going to be awesome to see it starting to fill in.
Thank you. I'm excited about it. It's been a long time coming. So.
Yeah. And do you have a good viewing area where you can sit and look at it?
Yeah, this is right in the living room, kind of in between the kitchen and the living room. So it's kind of center stage for the house.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, because that's one of the reasons I wanted to get a house where I could have my reef tank right out front and center, because the best place, the safest place to put a reef tank is in the basement. If anything happens, you're not going to wreck your whole house. But I mean, in this house, we had to pay extra to have the electrical panel moved, because the normal location for it is in the basement, right below where I want the tank. And at first they said, oh no, we don't do that. And we said, well, we're going to put a 300-gallon saltwater tank. Salt water's a million times more conductive than fresh water. If something happens and the electrical panel's right below it, that's not good.
Yeah.
And so then they came back to us and said, okay, we can move it. So we moved it about 10 feet further back.
That's good.
So it's nowhere near it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just going to be nice to be able to just kind of be sitting on the couch and just seeing all the fish and just getting a little bit more interaction with the tank instead of having to walk down into the fish room and deal with all the mess in there.
And how high is the stand for this tank?
This is about 40 inches.
And how do you like that? Do you find you can get up high enough to work in the tank? Because I'm looking at 42 with a 22-inch height.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do wish it was a couple inches higher. So I think 42 might serve you well. I mean, I'd have to stand on a stool to do most of the work in here anyway. But I like it in terms of being able to view the tank. It's perfect height right now for my wife, who's I'm almost 6 foot. She's about 5. What are you? 5'7"? 5'5"? Oh, 5'5"?
Yeah, that's how tall I am. I'm 5'5". I like to stand in front and look at everything really carefully, and I really hate always having to bend over.
Yeah. I built this stand really, really sturdy. It's like 2x6s. There's enough 2x6. I mean, it could probably handle double the tank size. Just because I knew it was going to be taller and I wanted it to be sturdy and everything. But yeah, I like it. I think 42 will be nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. And especially with the platforms that will slide out that I can step up. I think they'll be 13 or 14 inches off the floor, which is a high step, but manageable. And then I can slide along sideways as necessary on the front and down the sides, instead of worrying about stepping up onto a step stool and then forgetting I'm on the step stool and stepping back instead of down.
Right.
Skynaz. Hey, Skynaz. Is that a Christmas tree already? Do you have a Christmas tree up there?
Yeah, I have a Christmas tree already. I know. I was thinking that the other day. I was like, I'm embarrassed I haven't set up already, but yeah.
Well, somebody said you go to all the trouble and expense to get the lights and the ornaments and all the work of setting it up. Why not have it longer if you like it, right?
Yeah, here, I'll give you guys a shot.
Ooh. Very nice. Is that a pre-lit one, or did you have to put all those lights on?
No, it's pre-lit. It's like it's an artificial one with the lights in it.
Yeah, we have that.
It's halfway decent. I don't mind.
Yeah, you can get good ones now, not like the 70s where I remember we had one that was a pole that had holes in it on an angle, and the branches were long pieces of twisted wire, heavy gauge wire, with pieces of like sort of an acetate green strips trapped in there. And I'll never forget one year we were taking it apart and I was reefing on it, trying to get this thing out of the pole because it was slightly bent, and it came out quickly and got my mom right above the eye.
Oh man.
It was awful. I'll never forget that. It was terrible. I mean, it didn't even really cut her, but it bruised her pretty badly. But if it had hit her in the eye, it would have been another story. But that's what you got in the 70s.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was a long day. I still got a lot to do. I got to clean things up and I'll be testing the water a lot and just making sure things aren't getting crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll probably go through that phase for quite a while until you're confident it's okay. I went through that with the holding tank. I think you go through that with any new tank.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, ATF in the house says that's going to be an awesome tank when it grows in and matures. Definitely.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hey, Matthew Meyer. Cool. And are you going to add, do you have any kind of a plan for fish?
That's a great question. Definitely have a plan for more fish, but I don't want to make the same mistake that I made in the 125, which was I had too many fish in there.
Mm.
So I would definitely like to get, I mean, it's 250 gallons, so it's a decent size. Right now, what's in there, so I have the Tomini tang. Let me see if I can catch all the fish. They don't like me today for putting them in here.
They have to get new
It
territories.
should grow to like it. It's a bigger home. So I got my fox face who I've had for a couple years. He's in there hanging out. He's just the plain yellow type.
Yeah.
He's got some scratches. He was just wild trying to catch. I mean, I was just as calm as I possibly could be, and he just knew it was going to happen.
I caught mine in a fish trap, and that's another video I have to make is moving my fish, because I ended up having to use a fish trap.
I wish I would have taken. I bought a fish trap, although he could barely fit in it. He's pretty big, but I put it in the tank for a few weeks. And I was just having trouble getting any interest in any of them going in there, and so I kind of gave up on it. But I mean, God, it was kind of brutal today. I wish I would have taken a little more time with it. Just with the fox face in particular. I mean, he was going 6 feet across the tank, running into the glass, just kind of freaking out. So I felt bad for him, to be honest. But like I said, I just tried to stay calm and catch him calmly. He struggled a bit, but anyway, I have him in here, and then the Tomini tang, and then I got my lawnmower Blenny. Where is he? He's right there. If you can see him kind of on the rock there, but
yeah,
those guys are always fun. And then I have he's back there in the rocks now. I have an engineer goby. He's about a foot long.
Oh my God. Oh, I remember talking about this before.
He's under that cave right there in the back.
Cool.
So he was the first one. He was easy to catch. He just was swimming through the water. He almost swam right in, and he's been in the tank the longest. You can't really see him very well, but
Fletcher, the tank is 72 side to side, 30 front to back, and 22 deep. It's a 250. Did I get that right, Chase?
It's 36 wide.
36 wide. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 by 6 feet, and it's 22 high.
Yeah. And it's roughly 250. I don't know the exact gallonage. It might be like 245 or 255 or, who knows?
Yeah, you can calculate it, and then there's the actual volume based on whatever the rocks take up.
Yeah, I filled it. I used about half the water from the 125 to kind of top this one off, maybe 3/4 of it to get the rest of this off for the system. But it's going to be good. I just got to figure out what corals to put where, and I have the gyre pumps in the back. You can see the orange one's a little better.
Oh, yeah.
But I have the 4 gyre pumps in the back kind of going. Those are the ice cap ones. I really like those.
Mm-hmm.
They're just as good, if they perform just as well as the higher end gyres, I think. And, you get more bang for your buck.
Yep. Yeah, I have to decide what to do because I'm only going to be I'm going to be pushing water 66 inches, 5.5 feet. So I don't know. Plus, I'm going to want to go side to side a little bit in some areas of the tank. So that's going to be an interesting problem to solve.
Yeah, flow will be interesting for that tank for sure.
Yeah. So many things to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it kind of really smells in here. This tank, I gotta get this thing out of here.
Do you think you have dead snails in there now or anything? Like, is there anything alive in the sand?
I mean, nothing that I can see with my naked eye that I can grab out anymore. We got pretty much everything. I think it's just all the detritus and nastiness. I use soda ash, so my sand bed kind of solidifies to a certain degree.
Oh yeah.
But I still like it. Salvaged all these zoas off the rocks. That was a hack job, getting the zoas off the rocks, because I mean they're just, how are you going to get each individual zoa off a rock? So I just took a chisel and just everything that came off, I just glued it to a tile.
It looks like you got substantial pieces anyway.
Yeah, I had some pretty good mats of some different types.
Cool.
I got some the Sunny D's over here.
Oh yeah.
Those yellow ones. Those red ones, you can see they try to squeeze in anywhere they can.
Yeah. And what are you going to do with the frag tank once you have all the corals out of it? Are you going to maintain it as a space for frags?
Yeah, just bring in new corals in. I found actually the SPS, like new SPS frags, sometimes do a little better in this tank than just putting them on, like, because I have other, like a frag rack in the display,
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I find that, some corals do better in here. So I'll just move them. If it's like losing a lot of color, I might move it over here and see if it colors up or if it's just needs the adjustment in general. So it's just nice to have kind of the extra space just to move stuff. And
it gives you options. If you need to rescue something from the big tank because it's being overgrown or attacked by something, at least you have somewhere you can put it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Matthew Meyer, how do you manage to keep that sand bed so clean? It's probably partly because it's new sand.
Yeah, there's been no light cycle on it. It's just been bacteria and salt water in there. So I did the fishless cycle, so there hasn't really been any biological stuff in there besides the bacteria. So that's why it's clean. I'm sure it'll be dirty in just a little bit.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long.
So I'm just hoping that the nutrients don't bottom out and I avoid like a cyano bloom or something like that. That will just be annoying to deal with for a little bit. But if it happens, it happens. It wouldn't be the first time. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's been a relief though, kind of just getting the other display tank down, because now I've just had a lot of stuff sitting around,
Mm-hmm.
So kind of going back to all that planning that you have to do. You just have so much stuff kind of ready, and you've been working towards this big moment, and it's kind of on the downhill slope of that. It feels nice.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where sometimes no matter how much you plan, you forget about stuff. But once you reach a certain point, you have more options, like we were talking about having this frag space, and you start to actually be able to use the space that you have better because it's more organized and it makes more sense, if you know what I mean. I used to find that in my other fish room, that if I reorganized something in the cabinet, I could think about it for 3 months, and when I finally did it, it felt so good. And it's like cleaning stuff in your tank. When you finally get to do it, it leaves you brain space. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You have
definitely.
brain space to think about other things.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, good night, Oscar. Oscar's got to get up early. Ooh, a nice Reef Raft pink Cadillac. Good luck with that. You guys are going insane with the corals. Fletcher Wright is wondering what lights you have on the frag tank and the 250. You saw those bars from Reef Breeders.
Yeah. So, so there's the canopy for the 250. They're 2 5-foot bars and 1 24-inch 2-foot bar, and then those are XR15s, the G5s, which I can't say enough about. They're pretty sweet.
So you like the G5s? I like about them.
Yeah, I have the G4s as well, and I like the G5s. But that's the XR30, the G4s. And then this is the other XR30 that was over the 125. So that's going to be over the frag tank now, basically those two lights. And then before the Radion was there, I've had these Mars Aqua lights. Which also do just fine. I mean, all these corals here that you see have been growing under the Mars Aqua light, which is a black box light. So,
yep.
But I mean, I have them 2 feet off the tank, so they're 24 inches above the tank, and it's a strong light, so you have to have it up high and give it a lot of spread. I've bleached a lot of corals with that light, just not understanding that.
Yeah.
So, because it's like 300 watts of LED. It's a lot of light. So,
yeah.
The Radions, I think they run at like 200 watt.
That's something that it's easy to forget about when you get a new light, is how to make sure that you're not gonna bleach stuff with it. And I guess the only real way to be sure is to use a power meter and get things set up to where they're all, especially if you have different lights like I do. I have 3 different types of lights on the holding tank right now, and I still haven't taken a power meter to sort out what the settings should be. But I mean, everything still seems to be okay. So, hey, Brooklyn, woo! D for Brooklyn is here. Nice to see you.
Oh, nice. What's up,
Nelson?
D? I've been watching him on his streams lately, so I've been enjoying those.
Yeah, and Nelson Leon Ayala, nice to see you too. And Tony Close is here again.
They actually interviewed one of my buddies, Alan, that lives here in town, the same town as me, the other day on their live stream. That was nice to watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, what I was going to say about the lights is you just you have to understand the strength of some of them. Like, you can see the 250, I'm using the XR15s over. I only have 3 of them. And that's with the understanding that they're powerful lights. But, once I get more full coral growth, I might need to add some stuff there or something like that. But these lights, they're getting pretty strong these days. So just be careful with them. But yeah, I'm going to leave the Mars Aquas up. I'm actually going to I have another Mars Aqua fixture that was over the display. And I'm going to put that in there with the 2 Radions and just put them on their lowest setting just to get a little bit more spread and light coverage on the tank. But I can't run them both. I can't run both lights on full blast, or else it's too much for the tank. So
yeah.
But the corals always love spread. You could have 100 fixtures on their lowest settings, and like the corals would love that because they love that getting hit from every angle.
Yeah,
that's where you're going to get the best performance.
Yeah, I agree. That's the best way to replicate what you get apparently with the T5s, the no shadowing, is to come from a lot of different angles.
Yeah. That's why the Mars Aquas aren't, or these kind of black boxes aren't too bad, because that's the one thing they do really well is the spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just kind of an iffy spectrum, and you don't really know what kind of power output you're getting or whatever. But
it's the array type light versus the puck type light. So the puck is more of a point source, which is what I have in the Kessel. Well, that's what you get in Kessels or AI Prime or the Radions. But the array type lights give you that opportunity for all the different lights to hit from different angles. And that spread. That's why I'm thinking seriously of the Orphec Atlantic, the V4s.
Yeah, I remember you were interested in those.
Yeah,
I think that'd do great. I think that's probably like a higher. Yeah, that's probably that's the highest end kind of panel light you can get. So,
is it? I thought doesn't GHL make a Mitris?
Oh, GHL might have something that's on the pricey end. That's right.
It's just the Orphec, just how they're designed, the way they look. They're really well built. That appeals to me a lot as well.
Yeah, I think that's why I noticeably like the G5 over the G4s, because they're moving. It's still kind of a puck style in a way, but they're moving a little bit more towards a panel style. And I think, with the things they do so well otherwise, the more they move towards that panel style, I think the better that light's going to perform. And so the G5 kind of is the best iteration of that right now. Yeah.
Oh, good night, Johnny. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it's kind of an evolution. When you think about it, when LEDs first started to be used, a lot of people were building their own. Mm-hmm. And then there were the Chinese black box types that started to come in. And we went through all of that. And then Ecotech and Kessel and AI started building the puck styles, which just from a design perspective look really nice. They're clean, they're efficient, they're nice to look at. Mm-hmm. And they seem to do a good job, as long as you have the pucks far enough apart that you can get some of that other type of oblique angle of light. But if you just have, I have one AI Prime over Mollywood, it is a great light, don't get me wrong. It definitely reaches all corners of the tank. But it's not the same as if I had two. You know what I mean? So totally. Now we're sort of evolving again back to a different style of puck where the diodes are farther apart again, right? It's gone almost full circle.
Yeah, definitely.
Very nice. Yeah, I was sure I was going to lose my gold chalice. Is that a tangerine lepto you've got there, or is it a gold chalice at the top beside the green?
Yeah, that's a lepto. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks a little more orange to my eye than on the camera. That looks more gold.
Yeah. Yeah, my gold chalice was looking really rough, so I moved it in kind of a spot of lower light. And now I'm thinking the nutrients being so low is what's causing a lot of the problems with anything in my tank that's not doing well right now. Mm. So I've been feeding Benereef and Microblast and Phytoblast and Zooblast and you name it.
And you've been blasting the tank.
And I'm telling you, some of the corals are showing the effects. They're loving it. So now all I have to do is try and get the nutrient levels up to where the Montes and things start coloring up again.
Yeah. And then once you get the nutrients to that level, then you have to see your tank balance out. Like you're probably going to bloom some stuff, or you might have some algae or something, but then it'll level out again.
Yeah. Well, my theory is that after the fish disaster, I lost my two big herbivores, and that's why I had that algae explosion. And now the algae is out competing the corals for nutrients.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the nutrients are bottoming out. And plus, I'm feeding less because I have fewer fish. So I'm consciously feeding very little, just enough for what's there. And I think that's why the nutrients have bottomed out. But now I have the tang. The algae is diminishing considerably. And I go in there probably a couple times a week when I'm over there and manually remove clumps of turf algae from everywhere I can reach. And so it's slowly dwindling. So here's where I have to be careful, because if the algae isn't taking up the nutrients because the tang's eating it or whatever and it's grazing, I have to watch that I don't overdo it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a tough balance.
Yeah. It's always something.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I should probably say goodnight because it's after 11:30 and I can't believe the time has gone by so fast.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if I should start this a little earlier.
It was nice. It was nice just talking about the tanks and not having to worry about. I mean, I was doing plumbing and all kinds of stuff today, so it was nice getting a break.
Yep. Sometimes you need that to sort of reset your brain. Yeah, I can hardly wait to have the giant water tanks dropped off because the place is local where I'm getting the 150 vertical and the 265 on legs.
Yeah.
And we asked about delivery, and the guy just looked at us and he said, "Hey, everyone we know has a pickup truck. We'll just bring them right to your house." So, I mean, not only am I able to get them locally from an ag supplier and these are suitable for potable water, they're food grade, they're going to get dropped off at my house. So I can hardly wait to get the picture of them sitting in the garage. And I'm sure the neighbors are going to wonder what the heck is going on. They already all know about the aquarium.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The only thing they know about you.
Yeah, that's right. And they're all, I'm sure, waiting with bated breath until this thing is up and running. So we're kind of famous with the builder because of all the weird things they had to do to change the house. And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Be watching.
Yep, that's good. I'm open to advice. Anybody has any?
So you're gonna keep up your normal schedule from here on out, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Nice.
And I'm going to see what I can do I'm going to listen back on the replay and see what the audio is like. It just feels like it's echoey. So I'm going to try to improve that, see if I can come up with, I don't know, like a sound booth made out of a giant moving box with blankets over it. I have no idea. We'll come up with something. We're reef keepers. We're creative when it comes to coming up with ways to fix things, right? You have to be.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm uncertain of, but because of the location here. And when we had the internet put in, we had the hard connection put into my fish room. So I have a big coil of fiber optic line right beside my desk here. And the computer, when it's downstairs, which is its normal place where it lives, it's wireless. So I can't really do the stream from downstairs, which is carpeted and much quieter, because I wanted to do it from the fish room. So that's what it's going to be.
Hey, work in progress.
Yep, that's right. So, yep, next Saturday, same thing. I will put out the reminder video, let everybody know, and we'll be back again.
Cool. Well, I always enjoy coming on. I appreciate you having me as always.
Well, thanks, Chase. It's always a pleasure because you've got such interesting stuff there, and we all like to keep tabs on what everybody else is doing, and it's inspirational. definitely.
All righty. Well, you have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Chase.
All righty. Bye.
Talk to you later. Hey, Call Me Nemo. Thank you for letting me know. Audio here is good on YouTube. That's awesome. Yeah, that's because it's hard to listen to when it's echoing and doesn't. It just is hard on your ears, and I find it hard to tell with these headphones on as well. So, well, I'm going to say good night. We still have 25 people here, and I would love to keep going all night. I have some stuff I have to do, boxes to empty in the kitchen so that I stand a chance of doing some stuff tomorrow. And yeah, so we'll see you guys all next week. And take care of yourselves. Stay safe. It's a crazy, weird world. And hope all is well with you and your reef tanks. Good night.